Tell me what to do, show me how to feel under your control. Everything is real, so hit me.
Kyle, I see we have we have a drawing up here. Could you explain this piece of art to us, please?
All right, so we're gonna switch across to my screen. So in this panel here, I was working on, or I am working on page 1 of the Amaranthine comic. And we have the character sitting, laying in what would seem to be a hospital bed. I don't want to reveal too much of the comic just yet, but we have here the sketch. So let me just turn off all of the line work that I would have done. 1 second. All right. And what I will do is I will bring up, you see this clearly, right?
Yep.
I will bring up the opacity of this layer. So what we're looking at here is the original work that the illustrator, Derek Smith, that's what he would have done, this entire page here. This is the I would get, all right? All of the lines, all of the shading and everything, as much as it might be dark in some areas and the lines might be appear thick in some areas, it's all very uniform for the most part because this is just the foundation of the final image. This is just helping us understand.
All of this is pencil work.
Entirely done by hand pencil work and fantastic pencil work done by Derek Smith again. All of the panels are done. If you just take a nice zoom up here, you're going to see all of the organic lines. All right. You get to see the original thickness and then pulling the pencil, the flow and everything. So all of this here is the original information when it comes to building the pages. And the inker's job is not necessarily to get to, like I said, in tracing over, you're not necessarily removing or undoing the illustrator's work. You're complementing it because you're more or less defining their work. You're kind of making it bolder. You're showing people, okay, this is the form or the shape that this person put down, or this is the, and it's beautiful work. It's very detailed, very intricate work. I remember the first time, huh?
I say we can see that.
We could definitely see that. And I mean, in talking to Derek and all, and he sent me page 5, and I opened page 5. He said, I sent you an email and I sent you with notes. Forget the notes. When I opened the image, I was like, wow. And I mean, can I show page 5 here?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. But page 5, I was really blown away by the composition. I was blown away, and the pencil work is beautiful. So the inker's job is to give you these lines. So yes, you know that they will pull the lines on the person. They will give you all the folds in the cloth. If you go up to the face here, you're gonna get all the facial details. But a big part of form is the play between light and shadows. And lines by itself, so that's without the shadows, so without these things, lines by itself, if you were to just turn these lines off, that doesn't make much sense in terms of when you're looking for polished form. It's just lines, it's two-dimensional. And so an inker's job is not only to interpret the two-dimensional linear lines, sorry to be redundant there, but also to interpret shadows. And so what we do is that we have to look at areas where light would naturally fall and where shadows would naturally fall, and almost complement the sketchwork of the illustrator, because that's what he would have done here in areas like this. He would have set up, he would have drawn certain borders to let the inker know this is a hard area, that's a hard solid black line. And areas where it's faded, you would see more crosshatch work, you would see stippling and stuff like that. So it's like knowing what to interpret, where to interpret, and how to interpret. All right, and so let's turn on the shadows here. Can I demonstrate?
Yeah, please do.
All right, good. So in real time, we're gonna look at, I guess, well, I mean, I could always, in an area like this, I like to say that I would prefer to use solid black colors on rigid body surfaces, so like hard surfaces, where light and shadows are very defined, it's definite. And you can use these black shadows or ink these areas to really show that hard light is falling. So again, techniques that it varies from artist to artist. What I like to do sometimes is just put down, I like to hand paint. I put down my paint work and then I go in and I will clean up. But you can use little tricks like just holding shift. And once you set up, once you define the area where shadows are supposed to go, because that's what the black ultimately represents, the shadows. All right. And the so you have the positive and negative spaces. So if I were to turn off the page again and we were to look at these areas, you have positive and negative. And the black areas, without the black, like I said, shape wouldn't really exist, or form wouldn't exist. It's with those shadows you kind of start getting ideas to what's happening in the panel.
So true.
And that's why inking is so important, because the artist, the colorist, he's not going to be painting or coloring on the page. He's going to be relying on the line work. And so in the inking process, you need to be able to capture enough form data to allow the colorist to freely, I guess, have a time coloring without worrying too much, or having to employ too much guesswork as to, okay, is that an arm? Is that a shiny surface? Is that a soft surface, a hard surface? Is that a fold? Is that a smile? I don't know. So, but there's so many things that can go wrong in the final part of the process that the inker's job is really critical, and I didn't realize how critical it was until you're in the middle of it, and you realize that between the illustrator and the colorist, that if you muddy it up, if the inker muddies something up, it's more work on the colorist on top of what he has to do, and then you destroy the work of the illustrator. So the inker really has to find that fine balance between um, working well with the team, and then respecting work and stuff, and then making discrete creative decisions to assist the process, to advance the project. And in a case like this, I did learn a lot from my fellow artists and team members. I learned a lot from Derek, and even when he sent his notes, if I could just pull up the notes really quickly for page 1. All right. And so as I was saying, like, Derek, the illustrator, he sent these notes to me attached to each page, which would help me to understand what each item literally in the scene is, or what it's supposed to be. So he would put a number, and then the number on the side here would have a corresponding description. And that descriptor would also help the colorist, but it would help me as the inker, most importantly, to understand how to set up the form, how to pull my lines. Like I mentioned, stroke thickness or stroke size, or the line size or the line weight really does um have it does have it play an important role in how you discern what you see. So if I could go back into Photoshop here. So as I was mentioning, like notes from the illustrator, from Derek, were really helpful, and they're very important. I didn't realize how important something like that was until he brought it to my attention. For example, if you were to look at this area on the bed here, I would not have known without the notes what that was, because that was left open to interpretation. That could have been anything from, let me just turn that back on real quick. That could have been two buttons, that could have been two outlets, two lights, that could have been so many things. And without the notes, I am just drawing 2 or 3 arbitrary shapes there, leaving it open for the colorist. And that's going to put a lot of work on him, unnecessary work, where he has to put design effort into his painting, apart from just finishing the work and polishing it. He now has to do a lot of step 1 and step 2 all over again. So, as the inker, if you can make decisions, as Lendl and as Derek pointed out, if you can make decisions to inform the process and inform certain parts of the artwork and just help speed things up by using creative common sense. That's as best as I can put it. If you see something that looks like a bottle, it's most likely a bottle. I mean, unless it's an alien gun and they have to identify and specifically say that's an alien gun. Use the sensibilities. If you see a light bulb, you know that glossiness, is going to be shiny. If it's emitting light, it's not going to have any shadows at all. You're gonna have to know. But then notes also do make that process faster for you.
So it changes
So,
the image from being a completely flat 2D image to giving the image more depth and more feeling even in your images.
and even texture, like even though you can't really feel it, your eyes, your brain could tell something's off there. So it really does help. It really does shape and frame the way that a story is told and how visuals are received. Once the line work is great, your brain kind of understands it naturally. But if it's poorly done, your brain stops and goes, something's looking off. You can't really tell what, but it's these subtle things. That's where the subtlety is in the detail. The magic is in the detail, the smaller details. It's not in the, it's like Derek's work. You would not believe that every tree and every balcony and every building had windows and every window had latches and all doors had knobs. But it's because it has all of those things that when you scale back, and you look at the whole image, you go, whoa, that's impressive. But it's because they take that time to look at the line size and look at the line shape. And in as much as the illustrator has to do that, the inker has to do that, and then the colorist has his own rules or guidelines to follow, considering phase 1 and phase 2.
Wow. Guys, I am getting really excited. I mean, when you hear from each member of the Amaranthine Comics team and the processes they all go through, you realize this is not just pen on paper. It's a highly technical process that each stage goes through, from the writing to the penciled work to the inking, and soon we're going to hear about the coloring process as well, the level of technicality that goes in to the whole process of coloring. So Kyle, I would like to really thank you for this opportunity to conduct this interview. We're all excited here. Again, Kyle is not somebody that I knew from before.
Sure.
But Kyle came on board 2 weeks before we were ready to start.
Yeah, basically.
Right? And he fall into this team like somebody who has been working with us for years. Right? He as well is very excited about this project, which is one of the reasons why Kyle agreed to work with us on this. So, Kyle, once again, we, the Amaranthine Comics team, would like to thank you for being part of our team, for lending us your expertise to bring forth something of true quality and excellence for the public so that they can truly experience entertainment to the highest level.
Well, Sadi, I am, as I told you, I will be eternally grateful for an opportunity like this. I rarely get the chance to be led by someone who is so sure about a project that it almost rivals my pride and my own. I feel very confident in the leadership for this creative venture and for the opportunities that you have provided for not only myself but the artists that form this Amaranthine team. Because in as much as we're working on this one comic, my hope is that at the end of this particular journey, it would open so many more doors for the brand, for the line, for the company, for the comic, and that you would represent Trinidad on an international scale. Because the idea here is that yes, we don't want to produce the same old thing that everybody's been trying to do. We are pulling together a project that will do it. And I'm just really excited to be part of it. I mean, don't mind the little pressure being the middleman between the start and finish.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our video today. And don't forget to leave us a thumbs up. And as you do that, also click on the subscribe button and click on that notification bell. Remember to stay safe. And as we always say, Nia Yabure Haina Mipaka. A free mind has no limits. Take care.
So hit me. First a confession. With you, I feel a connection. With you, it's like an infection. I've been infected with an obsession. With you, never any tension. Nothing but love and affection. Enough of my case, so let's cut to the chase. Listen up, cause these are the